I watched How to Drinks video. I watched the 2 videos Anders Ericsson did on it. I watched the video the Educated Barfly did on this. I read a handful of articles. I was trying to figure out like what connects the mid-century old-fashioned and the Wisconsin old-fashioned. They're so similar and yet they're different products. So I was wondering, so when did the mid-century old-fashioned become the Wisconsin old-fashioned? And that's partly due to the fact that Wisconsin is very tradition-based and they don't really want to change recipes, like traditional recipes that have carried on through the ages, even as mixology moved on. I even watched things that were tangential. So like I watched a How to Drinks video on Prohibition, 70s drinks, and 80s drinks. So that's 3 different videos. They have nothing to do with Wisconsin Old Fashions, but they give me more context as to, 1, what Prohibition did to mixology. It killed it. It genuinely killed it. The 70s and 80s, people were making weird drinks, man. They were making weird and bad drinks. And then he mentioned in the 80s, though, when he was doing the 80s cocktail, because it was based on the movie Cocktail that features Tom Cruise. Late into the 80s, there's a bartender named Daniel DeGroff who opened his own bar. He is patient zero for the Great Cocktail Revival. He started making drinks the true old-fashioned way. He did the way they did in the 1800s. Only 3 ingredients. Very stripped down. Very, very spirit-forward. And every single one... The reason I call him Patient Zero is every single one of his disciples, as he trains, let's say, a dozen bartenders. Those dozens of bartenders open their own bars across America. They teach Daniel DeGroff's method. They teach even more bartenders. And they're all bringing this quote-unquote new way of making cocktails, which is to say the pre-Prohibition way. So bringing back the philosophies before Prohibition to start making better drinks again. And people start learning about the old-fashioned again, about the whiskey sour again. People are inventing new cocktails like the espresso martini, which follows the same rules as pre-Prohibition cocktails, but are just as good as pre-Prohibition cocktails, which is why we call them modern classics. They are post-Great Cocktail Revival, but they are made in the classic way, which is why they're considered classics despite being so new. Because it took a revitalization and mixology was dead. For Prohibition was in the 20s, the Great Cocktail Revival was in the 80s, 60 years. Mixology was dead for 3 generations and only recently did it finally come back.